We are Movie Menu Reviews. New and improved. On today's menu, we'll be reviewing Upgrade. Welcome, ladies and gents. I'm Dan the Man Muñoz, host of Movie Menu Reviews, your weekly movie news and reviews podcast. Live on Facebook on episode 189.
Yeah. That's
It was just a special episode because, as you can see, we don't have Z, but we got an upgrade. Our special guest, William O. Tyler, comic creator, content creator, all around great guy.
Oh, thank you. Hello. I'm glad to be here.
Glad to have you. Also here joining us is my co-host, Mike Stan.
Yay! I made it.
I know.
Yeah.
Also, we have a special audience member, Dave.
Woo!
Yay! Yay!
Woo!
So we have quite a few movie news to get over, which is mostly a lot of trailers we want to discuss, and then we're going to go into the review for Upgrade. So the first trailer we're going to talk about is Susperia. So they are remaking it with a different. You
got it.
It's definitely different.
A different. I think you got it. That's exactly it.
What were your thoughts on watching the trailer for Susperia? Have you guys seen the original?
Yeah. I like the original.
Argento.
Dario Argento.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when I first heard that it was going to be remade, I was very, very worried. I was worried it was going to turn into like cheap, like low budget, like weekend horror film.
Exactly.
And so when I heard that, I was like, But after watching the trailer, I'm kind of excited to see it.
Yeah, actually, the cast.
Is
pretty interesting. Tilda Swinton. I kind of like what she does.
Yeah.
I feel like she fits.
She does.
Dakota Johnson, who did the Grey movies. What's it? 50 Shades of Grey.
I haven't seen any of those, so I don't think I know her work that well.
I feel like she fits right in.
Is she gonna get hit with a whip at some point?
Maybe.
I mean, a movie like Susperia, you never know.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, I think you're right.
Do you think that with this film, that they're gonna deliver with how far they push it, like compared to the first one? Or do you think they're gonna keep it a little tamed?
I was worried when I first heard about it too, that it was gonna be like cookie cutter, really toned down from the original. But this trailer is full of atmosphere. Like it looks like they really nailed the feeling of the original. It's gonna be different, but I think they'll in a modern way. Yeah. I think they'll be able to do it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, I think they nailed it still as something. It's still going to be something unique.
Yeah.
So, and obviously the director is going to have his own. The director is going to have their own take on it, but yeah, I'm still looking forward to it. I think it's going to have some fun atmosphere.
Yeah, I think the trailer won me over as well. It's different, but it piqued my interest to see how different it is.
Yeah.
And the more different, the better.
Yeah, I agree.
We do have a comment. Shauna Garrett has asked, what is that? What is Susperia or what is Upgrade? I'm not sure what you mean by what is that.
Susperia is it's it's considered a classic horror film from, I think it was the 70s.
I believe it was 70s.
Yeah, and it's about this giant flying monster. I'll just say that. I guess that's a bad explanation, but I don't know. Yeah. There's way more to it than that, and there's
a lot more to it, but actually maybe not. You need to go watch to find out.
Yeah.
And the original is worth the watch.
Yes, it is.
Also, the next trailer coming up that we are going to discuss is Widows by Steve McQueen. We just saw that trailer together. So what did you think about the trailer for Widows?
I honestly didn't know what it was about until watching the trailer, and I'm up for seeing it now. And I'm a huge fan of Viola Davis, so
Amen.
yeah, I really want to see her in just about anything. But this looks like I feel like she's very underrated. Like she doesn't get the roles that she should be in. We don't get to see her like fully let loose, and I feel like this might be a good one for her.
Agreed. I feel like she's gonna carry this film, and she's gonna do it justice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She looks amazing. And it's from Steve McQueen, who I mean, a lot of his films are great. He did Shame. He did 12 Years a Slave, and that's even more reason. Viola Davis working with Steve McQueen, it's something to be excited for.
Yep.
Yeah. Just to see her in an action role, I think is going to be great. I didn't expect that. And
well, you know,
I'm looking forward to
I
that.
wasn't a huge fan of Suicide Squad, but I did like her in it.
But
I did like her
even
toughness.
that, she didn't really get to do much
No, she
action,
didn't.
though.
No, that's true. She did not.
But in this,
but
it
she was
looks like
still
she's
kind of a
going to.
badass.
Yeah, and this one,
I
it
love
looks
badass
like-
Viola Davis.
Yeah.
Me too.
I think in this one, she's going to kick some ass.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like.
Kick some ass and take names and kick ass, or what did they say in Avengers? I forgot.
I don't remember.
We are live.
Yeah.
Let's rewind that though. No. So the next trailer we're going to discuss, which is funny because we talked about Susperia and Widows, is Ralph Breaks Internet. Wreck-It Ralph 2.
Oh, Ralph breaks.
Breaks,
the
yeah.
Oh, Breaks the Internet. Yeah, that's right.
There's a whole
Ralph
joke
breaks
about that in the
the
trailer, too.
Yeah.
It does sound better with
Yeah, it does.
So in the trailer
Ralph
we see Penelope and Ralph go to the internet and they get into some adventures. What did you guys think about the trailer? I know, William, you had some thoughts.
I probably won't get into all of my thoughts right now, but I'm excited for it. It's interesting to see Disney, because there's a moment in the trailer where Penelope meets all of the princesses, and it's interesting to see Disney finally let all of their properties like exist in the same world together, because that's something they've been very against for a long time. Like we also see Eeyore, we see Stormtroopers. Like there's a lot of crossover in this trailer.
Which is fun, but I mean Disney is such a conglomerate now. They just basically own everything.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to try to stay away from, the capitalism that's alive and well in this trailer. I mean, they hit the internet and the first thing you see is Amazon and Google. Yeah. And I mean, it is what the internet is, but yeah.
that makes me like, because they have such a real world take on the internet, I want to see how Ralph wrecks it now.
Yeah, exactly. That could be a good angle to it. Yeah. See how Ralph wrecks all of that.
What did you think, Mike?
No, it looks fun. I'm just exactly as you guys said. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens.
One of the things I did like also is that it's very self-aware.
Yeah,
and which though reminds me of Shrek, the first movie.
Yeah.
So I wonder how they are going to make this different, but still self-aware.
No, I think that's a good reference. It does have like a Shrek vibe to it in a good way.
Yeah, a big guy and
yeah.
are the leads, so
yeah,
it's only natural.
Yeah.
All right, so those are 3 trailers we talked about. Let us know what you guys think about those trailers. We're going to go ahead and head over to the review for Upgrade. So the movie we're reviewing is Upgrade, directed and written by Lee Winnell. Here's the plot. Set in the near future, technology controls nearly all aspects of life. But when Gray, a self-identified technophobe, has his world turned upside down, his only hope for revenge is an experimental computer chip implanted called STEM. It stars Logan Marshall Green, Benedict Hardy, Harrison Gilbertsons, and Melanie Vallejo. All right, guys, so the 3 of us have seen this film. So we shall decide if this movie's worth a dine-in, watch it in theaters, take out, wait and watch it at home, or leftovers, implants, chip in your brain to forget this film.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Whoever wins will earn a point, and whoever earns the most point at the end of the season could create their own segment of whatever they want for next season. William, as a guest, if you earn a point, you can keep your point for future shows and then trade them in for a special prize like boba, coffee.
Yes.
Important. Something very important.
Yeah.
Something very important. Horchata, burritos.
Boba or chata. we can make it happen.
Yeah.
We can make anything happen.
Anything happen. Or you could keep the points, and then as soon as you get up to 10 points, you could create your own segment, whatever you want.
Interesting.
Anything. There's no censorship. It could be anything about movie related.
Right.
So
I like the sound of that.
on that note, which means you got to come back.
Right.
That's how we get you. It's a verbal contract, just so you know you've been on the show. On that note, let's go ahead and rate this film. William, you could go ahead and go first.
I was a little hesitant between two choices, but I ended up weighing it and going with dine-in. I think it's dine-in.
All right.
Mike?
I had the same problem. I was trying to figure it out, but I think ultimately, when you have Movie Pass, you have this unfair advantage.
That's true.
Where you start to forget the cost. So like, I always remind myself like would I recommend someone that doesn't have Movie Pass to spend like $15 to see this movie? So I'm gonna go with a takeout. But and almost dine in.
Now, I'm going to say that my Movie Pass didn't work when I went to go to this movie.
Really?
So I had to pay full price at a night evening showing. But I'm going to go with dine-in.
Okay. All right.
I can see the problem that both of you had with hesitating, because it is... Now, we had talked about this about another film, that we don't mind slow burns. But for me, this movie, because if there's a payoff, I knew that there was going to be a great payoff of this film, which is the action. But it did take some time to get there.
Yeah,
it did.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. I didn't mind that.
Then why is it a takeout, Mike? No,
we'll get to it. We'll get to it, but you guys can go ahead. Unless you want me to jump right in.
No.
Okay.
William, talk about what you enjoyed about the film.
What I enjoyed first, or just
what you or why is it a dine-in for you?
Why is it a dine-in? Okay, what pushed it to dine-in for me is that is definitely the visual element of it. It's got some cinematography and camera work in it that's really incredible, that I think would work better seeing it on a big screen than on a TV at
Totally
home.
agree.
And it's also pretty generally like artsy and indie, and I like supporting movies like that, so I'm like, go see it.
Yeah, Mike, why do you hate independent movies?
Because I saw First Reform.
We do not discuss that movie. Regal says it's a dine-in. He just commented dine-in.
Okay.
What I liked about this film, and why it's initially a dine-in for me, which is funny because this could be seen as a takeout.
Yeah.
But for me, this seems like a very awesome episode of Black Mirrors.
Yes.
And something that I love about what I love about Black Mirrors is that it's very cinematic, even though it's an hour TV show. And this, it feels like the same, but worth watching in theaters as well.
It's like ramped up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, the action in it is amazing with when STEM takes over. That's really cool to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, the cinematography is amazing in this film. That was really fun to watch.
Yeah, there were a few of those shots where it seemed like the camera was connected to the lead actor.
Right.
So like every time he would move, it looked like you were playing a video game, which I thought was pretty awesome.
And in the trailer, there is a moment where you see him do a bunch of backflips. Think of like those moments. If you haven't seen the film, there's moments like that in the film throughout.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny you mentioned video game, because when I initially saw the trailer, the first thing I thought of was Hardcore Henry.
Yes,
which was
that's
also exactly like a video game.
Yeah. I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
When I saw it. I'm like, oh, this is a a third-person shooter. It's a first-person shooter.
That's exactly. You're absolutely right. It does
little over the shoulder.
Yeah, exactly. There are moments where it felt like I was playing a third-person shooter, where he's just running, and it's like, where's my controller? Yeah.
He has control of you, Mike.
Start doing blackface. But what was I saying?
You were saying how much you loved it, Mike, and how much it's a dine-in.
I loved it. It was great. No, I think the action in it was great, but okay, well, I'll stick with the action and the gore. So this film is very gory, which I think is super fun to watch.
But I should. Now I heard that it was very gory, and by going to the movie expecting that, I expected more gore. Maybe that's just my sick, twisted mind.
Got you.
But it is gory, but it's not like the goriest film you watch.
It's not like continuous, constant gore.
Right.
But
Yeah.
when
there's moments.
things happen, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
like when STEM
That's
first
true,
takes
yeah.
over, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. The first moment that happens with Stem,
That's the goriest moment.
which someone in the
beautifully done.
theater
Yeah, it
actually
is.
said, "Wow!" like really loud in the theater.
Who
That
said
was
that
funny.
in the theater?
Just some regular
some
audience.
random
It's like
person.
right after it happened, they're like, "Wow!" So yeah. So beware if you have blood and gore is not your thing.
That was one
Still
of my
watch
favorite
it.
parts of the movie, personally.
Still watch it.
No, I agree. That was the best scene, and I think that is a part of the weakness of the film too.
There's not enough of it, or
Know that the funner parts of the film or I had the most fun in the beginning of the film. I think without ruining it. So we're not going to spoil the
this
movie.
is spoiler
Yeah,
free. We should have
spoiler-free.
mentioned that.
But I feel like it starts to get a little too involved in the plot, and that's not really. I feel like none of it matters. Like,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, for me, it was kind of predictable.
yeah,
It was
but-
very
it was.
predictable.
But I don't think that we should count that against it because those type of action films are usually predictable.
Well,
It's just it's following the ride that's worth the
Well,
watch.
yeah.
The thing about that is that it felt like it's kind of hard to follow the ride all the way through because it feels like two different movies. Like one feels like a big action, the other one feels story driven, but the story isn't good enough.
Yeah, it's like yeah. Go
Like
ahead, I'm
for
sorry.
example, like a movie that pulls off
Both.
this successfully is like Baby Driver, which
Oh,
is
yeah.
a very, very predictable
We
story.
have the poster there.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a very predictable story, but the action and like the precision editing and everything makes you not even care how predictable it is because that's one where you really are along for the ride the whole time and it keeps you the whole time.
That's true. There should have been more driving. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's good. The self-driving cars. I thought it was pretty awesome.
I will say though, I feel like this movie did a great job world building.
Yeah,
Like
you're
to see
absolutely
how
right.
the future is, and even though there were like certain people, like the rich who had like self-driving cars, because there was regular cars on the road still, but and to see like the police with their drones and all that stuff,
Yeah.
to see all that world building stuff, I thought was pretty cool to watch.
No, I
Again,
agree.
Black Mirrors, Netflix. Go watch it.
Yeah, I think they did an amazing job with the world building, but again, like as I mentioned before, I feel like they make it a little bit more self-contained as the film goes further, and I think that hurts the film. And but it's amazing, just all the thing. I did not expect it to go into so much detail as far as Dan had mentioned the way people had rich people had self-driving cars, and I like how they kind of played in the same way that Black Mirror does, the thought of what if your self-driving car were to get tampered with, or the new vulnerability of being in a self-driving car, and you feel that terror, which is great. I hope that's not too much of a spoiler. Probably is.
Yeah, thanks,
I'm
Mike.
sorry.
Review done.
But that portion of the film is very awesome.
So, what would you, if you had the opportunity to rewrite this film? That's something that we've talked about yesterday.
Yeah,
But not so
yeah.
much about this film, but other films. How would you improve this film? Same question for you, William. How would you guys improve this film if you could rewrite?
I'll let William go first. Unless he wants me to go first, then I'll go.
No, you go first.
Oh, okay.
'Cause, yeah.
So this film is, I think they did such an amazing job building this world, and it seems huge. And I think they should have left it that way, in the same way that when you watch a TV show like Law and Order, it feels like you're in this massive city, and there's just a bunch of people, and it's very unrealistic that this one person will know, like, one other random person that happens to be tied into this story. So I feel like there's a lot of like, without spoiling it, I feel like
Convenience?
Yeah, maybe not convenience, but I think it was like choices in the writing that kind of shrunk the world back down. And that's kind of like what made it a disappointment for me, where it's like things don't always have to be connected. Like, just let it be a random thing. That's fine, you know?
Yeah.
And not only would that be fine, but I think it would have made the film stronger, because you just, it's like, it's just a continuation of that world building and what crime is now in the future. And I think that in itself would have been fun to continue to explore. But I think they just smash it down. And yeah.
That's some good points, Mike.
Yeah.
But you're wrong. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just
No,
kidding.
I actually agree. It forced a lot of stuff. It didn't feel very organic.
Yeah,
a lot
true.
of stuff.
It felt very robotic.
Nicely.
Sorry, I'm full of puns. Like that's my thing.
If I were to rewrite it, I would have pushed everything further. I would have made it more action. I would have had, like, there's some I don't think this gives away plot details, but there's a scene where there's some virtual reality going on in the background, and it's just like 2 or 3 people just kind of in the background. I would have had like a whole army of people. Just everything just needed to feel grander, like more epic, and I think that would have won over the story more.
Add more stakes to it.
Yeah.
I agree. There's definitely needed more stakes. Everything was too raw.
I think there was a weird there was like a weird inconsistency in the acting too.
Oh yes.
And I think that hurt the film as well. And
the lead actor,
both in the lead actor as well as like the villain, like the lead actor, and the lead actor and one of the side characters, the recurring side characters, and I feel like I wouldn't mind overlooking that if they wouldn't have emphasized those characters so much, or if it would have just stayed more focused on the action, it wouldn't have mattered as much. But if you're starting to rely on that to deliver the film, then then it starts to make the film shaky. It's like, we don't care about that.
Yeah.
Just more action.
And that kind of goes back to how I felt like it was 2 different movies, because there are some serious moments, and then there are some like really silly moments that kind of get put in, and they're kind of funny, but they're also kind of, why is this happening?
Yeah. And I think it loses it, and it almost feels like a character break when they do that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of like they wanted to create some they wanted some like a comic relief in it, so they threw it in. But it's like, from like, they've just spent all this time building this character that isn't really like that, and then to do that, it's kind of like, well, that's not really the way you showed us. He's not like this.
Yeah.
So
I don't think this is a spoiler, but do you think because it is a revenge film and it's an upgrade film, that's the title of it, do you think if it was harder or more of a challenge to find the people, do you think that would have been more entertaining? Like, see the detective work of the Stem and him working together?
I think that would have slowed it down more.
Some more action?
I'm not sure that would have been the right choice for me personally. I don't know. I mean, I don't mind detective work like that. It feels like that should be important for a story like this, but
get down to the
we've
gore.
Seen that a lot anyway. Yeah, exactly.
What did you guys think of I didn't mention it before, but Simon Maiden, who is the voice of Stem, how do you think that vocal performance?
The voice was good, and it again reminded me of like a video game, having that narration with you the whole time.
Yeah, that was good.
Like Destiny or something.
Was good.
Yeah, I thought it was great voiceover work. Yeah, I believed it. He sounded very much like a robot, which was fine.
All right, so let's go ahead and finish our spoiler-free review and head on over to our spoilers review.
Okay.
William, before we go, though, is there anything you'd like to promote to the viewers and listeners on the podcast?
Yeah, like you said earlier, I'm a comic artist, and right now I'm working on a web comic called Watt's Cinephilia. Watt is W-O-T, that's my initials, William O. Tyler, so it's my cinephilia. But the webcomic is all about me exploring my love of film and how we as an audience and society relate to film, and how film relates to society. So, like for example, the current story that I'm working on is about whitewashing in film, and why that is a bad thing.
You hear that, people? It's a bad thing.
Yes.
Where can they catch that?
Oh, you can find any of my work on williamotyler.com, or right now the whitewashing story is a Patreon exclusive. So if you go to patreon.com/WilliamOTyler, if you want to join at the movie buff level on Patreon, then you get to see all of that now.
So go do that right now. Thank you so much. We're going to head over to the spoiler free. Thanks, Mike. And stay tuned. This will be released. The spoiler free spoiler section will be released Tuesday, but you're watching this live now.
See you later. Thanks, Facebook people.